Okay, let's dive in. We're tackling something incredibly relatable today, something universal. Why is it so incredibly hard to make ourselves do the very things we know will improve our lives?
Mm.
You have the goal, you know the steps, maybe you've read all the books, and yet you don't do it.
It's a huge frustration, isn't it? And the source material for this deep dive, it's excerpts from a chapter called You'll Never Feel Like It, and it offers a really surprising take on why.
You'll never feel like it. Yeah, that title hits a bit close to home, maybe. So, okay, the mission today, unpack this, like hidden force that stops us, and look at a tool the source says can help push through.
Exactly. And a great way to start is with this story about a woman named Christine. She's in a meeting in Plano, Texas, has this brilliant idea, but then she hesitates.
Ah, that hesitation moment. We all know that one.
Right. And that pause, that's the core issue this source digs into.
Okay, so set the scene. Christine, Plano, Texas, hot afternoon meeting.
Yeah. And the stakes are pretty high. Her company's trying to land this huge consulting deal. It's down to them and one other competitor. The decision is coming next week, so the boss calls this brainstorm.
Pressure's on.
Definitely. So Christine's there, listening hard, taking notes, like always, and then, boom, she gets this idea. It's a bit creative, maybe a little risky.
Ooh, okay. What was it?
A custom Snapchat geofilter. Like one specifically for the potential client's office building.
Oh, interesting. So anyone in that building using Snapchat would see their company's name.
Exactly. Kind of an unexpected, targeted buzz right where it counts. Her mind starts racing, thinking through the potential.
Cool idea. So what happens? The meeting's wrapping up.
Yeah, the VP leading it says, these are great suggestions. Anyone else got anything?
And that's Christine's cue, the spotlight moment.
And the source really focuses on this. She has maybe 5 seconds, just 5 seconds to jump in.
Yeah.
And that's when the internal battle starts.
Uh-huh. She knows she should share it, right? It's innovative, shows she's engaged.
Totally. But she pauses. And in that pause,
Little doubt floods it. Is this dumb? Is it too out there? Why didn't someone else say this? All that stuff.
precisely, she starts shifting in her chair, that physical discomfort, already talking herself out of it in just those few seconds.
Even though she wants to break that habit, right? She knows holding back is hurting her career goals. She's read the books, Lean In, Daring Greatly.
Exactly. She knows that executive presence. She knows what the right thing to do is for her ambitions. But knowing and doing,
They're completely different things. So why? Why is it so hard for her, for us, to just do the thing?
okay, so this is where the source makes its big, maybe slightly controversial point.
Mm-hmm.
It says Christine's problem wasn't really about speaking. She can talk just fine.
Right.
The struggle was with her feelings. That immediate wave of self-doubt, the fear of judgment, those feelings were the real barrier.
Her feelings. Not logic, not her goals, not the fact she had a genuinely good idea.
The argument is, we make almost every decision based on how we feel right then, in that split second, not based on logic or our dreams or our 5-year plans.
Whoa, hold on. Almost every decision. That feels wrong. We think we're rational.
We like to think so.
Yeah.
But the source brings in neuroscience here, specifically the work of Antonio Damasio. His research points to feelings making the call something like 95% of the time.
95%. So we're not thinking machines that happen to feel.
We're feeling machines that think. That's the quote the source uses from Damasio.
Feeling machines that think. Okay.
And his research is fascinating. He studied people with very specific brain damage. Their thinking was fine, IQ normal, but they couldn't feel emotions.
And what happened?
They were completely unable to make decisions, utterly paralyzed. They could logically list pros and cons for hours, even for something simple like, what to eat for lunch. But they couldn't actually choose.
Why not?
Because they lack that gut feeling, that emotional nudge that apparently seals the deal for the rest of us, even when we don't realize it.
So feelings aren't just like flavoring our decisions, they're fundamentally driving them.
That's the perspective, yeah. We do a super quick subconscious pro-con list, but the final step, the go or no-go, comes down to how we feel about it in that instant.
Okay.
Ah.
My mind is slightly blown here. So how does this connect back to Christine hesitating with her Snapchat idea?
Well, the source says, internally, the question we ask ourselves isn't purely logical, like, should I share this idea? It's driven by feeling. It's, do I feel like sharing this idea right now?
Ah, that little shift makes all the difference. Do I feel like it?
Exactly. The source gives other examples. You think you're asking, should I get up? But really it's, do I feel like getting up?
And the answer is usually no.
Usually. Or should I tackle this hard project becomes, do I feel like tackling this right now? And the source lays it out pretty bluntly. If you only act when you feel like it, you'll never get what you really want.
Because the feelings associated with pushing yourself, with growth, with doing something new, they're almost always uncomfortable feelings. Fear, doubt, uncertainty.
Precisely. Your immediate feeling is often going to be, ugh, no, stay safe, stay comfortable. Change feels risky. Your feelings will decide against it before your rational brain gets a word in edgewise.
Okay. So if we're wired to decide based on feelings, and the feelings around important actions are often negative, how do we ever get anything done? What's the fix here, according to the source?
The solution proposed is about learning to create a separation, to disconnect what you feel from the actions you take.
Separate feeling from action. Easier said than done.
Well, yeah. But the source offers a tool for this, a very specific, almost mechanical tool. The hashtag 5-second rule.
The hashtag 5-second rule. Okay, I've heard of this. How does it actually work?
It's incredibly simple on the surface. The moment you have that instinct to act towards a goal like Christine, wanting to share her idea OR, the second you feel yourself hesitate, feel that fear or doubt creep in, you immediately, physically or mentally, count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And on 1, you move.
Yeah.
You take some kind of physical action towards the goal. You push yourself forward.
Moves force it. What's the thinking behind that? What does counting backwards actually do?
So the source explains it a few ways. First, counting backwards is a deliberate act. It requires focus. So it interrupts the default patterns of overthinking, worrying, making excuses.
Like hitting pause on the internal negative chatter.
Exactly. It distracts you from the fear. Second, by forcing a physical action right after the count, opening your mouth, standing up, putting on your running shoes, you're activating your prefrontal cortex.
Okay, the thinking part of the brain.
Right, the part responsible for planning, deliberate action, goal-directed behavior. You're essentially shifting gears using this simple countdown to move control from the hesitant, feeling-driven part of your brain to the action-oriented part.
Interesting. So it's like a little mental trick to hijack your own hesitation.
That's a good way to put it. A mental gear shift. If you feel too tired for the gym, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stand up. If you feel nervous about making that call, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pick up the phone. It short-circuits that "do I feel like it" loop.
Because if you wait until you feel like it,
You'll likely never do it. The source is pretty clear. Untangle feelings from actions or stay stuck.
Okay, let's bring it back to Christine. In that meeting room, feeling the dread, the 5 seconds ticking away.
Yeah.
How did the rule work for her?
Well, normally that feeling of uncertainty would make her freeze. Look down, stay quiet, let the moment pass, then regret it later.
Midden.
Right. But this time she felt the dread, the knot in her stomach. She recognized that 5-second window closing. But she also recognized, this is it. This is the moment I need to override the feeling.
So she used the rule.
She did. Silently, in her head. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And that count, it quieted the noise.
According to the source, yes. It interrupted the self-doubt, broke her usual habit of freezing, distracted her from the fear, and engaged that prefrontal cortex. It created that moment of deliberate action.
And on 1.
On a 1, she just opened her mouth, started talking, said, I have an idea.
Wow. Even though she felt terrified.
Absolutely terrified. The source mentioned she felt like she might just, die of embarrassment, but she pushed through it, sat up a bit taller, owned her space, and explained the Snapchat geofilter idea.
And the reaction in the room. Did they love it? Did trumpets sound?
No, not really. They listened, asked a couple of questions. The VP just said something like, thanks, Christine. Very interesting suggestion. Anyone else? And the meeting just moved on.
That's it. Kind of anticlimactic from the outside.
Totally. Externally, it wasn't a huge deal. But the source really hammers this point. Internally, for Christine, it was massive.
What shifted for her?
By using that simple 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 mechanism to push past her fear, to act when her feelings were screaming "no," she proved something crucial to herself.
That she could do it.
Exactly. That she could find courage even when she felt scared. In that ordinary moment, she took a concrete step towards becoming the person she wanted to be, more assertive, more visible. Small action, huge internal win.
And this ties into what the source says about confidence, right? It's not something you just magically feel.
Right. Confidence is presented as a skill you build. It connects to this old psychological idea, do good, be good. It goes way back, even to Aristotle. But social psychologists like Timothy Wilson talk about it too.
Do good, be good.
Meaning changing your behavior is often the most effective way to change how you see yourself and how you feel. You act brave, You start to see yourself as brave, you act confident, you start to feel more confident.
So the hashtag 5-second rule isn't about positive thinking or affirmations. It's a tool purely for action.
Exactly. It's designed to get you doing things aligned with your goals, especially when your feelings are screaming resistance. And Wilson's point, mentioned in the source, is key. You can't just think your way out of old habits. You have to push through the uncomfortable feelings to break them and build new ones. Like replacing the habit of hesitation with a habit of courage.
And that moment of pushing through is what the source calls the push moment.
Yes, that specific instant could be 5 seconds,
Right.
could be less, where what you value, what you know you should do, lines up. But your feelings are just shouting, no! That's the critical point, where the rule is meant to be deployed, to give you that little push.
Okay. And Christine's story isn't isolated. The source shares other examples too.
Oh, yeah, several. There's Nate, using it every day now to push himself in his wellness business, getting out of his comfort zone. There's Carol, who used it to finally get the courage to present at a conference like a major hashtag life goal for her.
Wow.
Alexandra called it a moment that changed everything when she used it to give a big presentation, which then gave her the confidence to teach a class later.
So it builds momentum.
Seems like it. And Jim used it to beat analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Getting stuck just thinking and researching forever. He said it helped him have one incredible year because he finally started doing...
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a killer. There was another detailed story too, right? Anna Kate?
Yes, Anna Kate,
Yeah.
a marketing professional. She used it for small things first, like getting out of bed for her 30 before 7:30, 30 minutes of work before the day officially started.
Okay. Practical.
But the really big impact was in her marketing work. She carried a notebook for ideas, right? But she realized she'd often hesitate to jot them down.
Wow.
That same old feeling. Is this idea good enough? Is it fully baked? What if it sounds silly? She described herself as a scaredy cat, worried about looking inexperienced.
Ah, the internal critic again.
Totally. But with the rule, it became,
Yeah.
have the flicker of an idea, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, write it down. Immediately. No judgment, no overthinking in that moment. Just capture it.
So bypassing the do I feel like this is brilliant filter?
Exactly. Just act on the impulse.
Right.
And she said by doing this, by casting her scaredy cat syndrome aside through action, her creativity flourished. She was getting ideas out, sharing them more, and guess what? Her team actually liked them.
That's fantastic. It really drives home that point. You can feel like a scary cat inside.
But 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you can act brave. And that action changes things.
Yeah. The source frames it as everyday courage being a choice made one 5-second decision at a time.
Every time you face the doubt, the fear, the excuses, and you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 push through anyway, you're proving something to yourself. You're showing your own capability, your inner strength. You're honoring your potential. And that's how confidence grows, not by waiting, but by acting courageously, move by move.
So wrapping this up, we've taken a pretty deep dive into this source, looking at how our feelings, often subconsciously, really run the show and can stop us cold.
Yeah, stopping us from doing things we genuinely know are good for us, things we want to do.
And we've looked at how this hashtag 5-second rule is presented as a surprisingly simple tool to create that tiny but crucial gap between feeling and action.
Giving you a way to basically interrupt that feeling-driven no and choose your goal-driven yes instead.
It's really not about getting rid of the doubt or the fear, is it? The source seems to accept those feelings are just part of the deal.
Exactly. It's about choosing to act anyway. The battle isn't usually about your actual ability. It's about whether you let your feelings hijack the decision in that critical 5-second window.
Remember Christine, Nate, Carol, Alexandra, Jim, Anna Kate. None of them waited until they felt totally confident or ready.
No, they used a simple mechanism, a tool, to just start.
Yeah.
And the starting, the action, that's what built the confidence. That's what changed how they saw themselves.
So here's a final thought to leave you with, something to chew on from this source. Think about the difference between the person looking back on their life saying should have, could have, would have, and the person who can look back and just say, did. According to this source, the gap between those two realities might just be 5 seconds long.